have access to compassion. And we're going to talk about what is a compassionate leader, because leadership is an opportunity to be compassionate to those you work with, to those in your workplace. Today, we're, especially in a time like now, we have so many conflicts, so many global wars happening, senseless wars. Nothing that's happening makes sense to the average human being. And we're affected by this in so many ways. We see it in the news, we see it on social media, we probably go to church with somebody who's been affected by it. We know colleagues whose relatives are consumed by some of these things. So it's important to learn what is happening in our workplace, what is happening, and how can we ensure that we are indeed practicing compassion. So go ahead in the box and tell me in the chat, where do you think compassion, you could see more compassion at work? What are some of the things that you're seeing and you're hearing? If you're joining me here on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, what are some areas where you think sometimes compassion is being mauled over? When we look at the human side of work, we're always looking at what can we do. So compassion isn't just about being kind. It's about understanding the emotions and the challenges of others and responding with empathy and support. In a work environment, we have to remember that compassion is, it actually leads to increased morale, better teamwork, and even enhanced productivity. So one of the things we teach in the well-being, under the well-being curriculum, we're always looking at that human side of work. How do we bring our humanity into the workplace? Well, compassion is one of those. And one of the things I've listed here, I've said, sometimes work is scary. Sometimes it is really scary, and people are doing the best that they can. And so I'm just going to share with you the definition of compassion, right? So understanding it isn't just about being kind. So it's about understanding what people are saying, understanding their needs, their challenges, and then stepping in and saying, okay, I understand, but here are the boundaries within which we need to operate. Here are the parameters. And this is where we start to talk about boundaries. We start to talk about procedures. We start to talk about policies, because those are very, very important in the workplace in order for you to have a healthy, thriving work environment. Too often, it is not. Too often, we spend so much time wondering and struggling, right? It's not just good for people, it's good for business too. Compassionate businesses. I mean, let's face it, there are some businesses, big business, that's making it very difficult to do business with them. It's like they don't have compassion. They don't think about how are our customers going to be burdened by this new policy? How are our clients going to be affected? These days, it just seems like business is all about making money, and they are affecting the well-being of their members, their clients. Have you looked at some of the new changes and policies in banking, in healthcare, in big business, private and public business, like organizations? It seems like we're so busy, we're not thinking about having compassion on people. One of the things that I notice here, one of the in our city here in Winnipeg, one of the pieces that I really champion and I saw that came up is a policy to think about handicapped people. And I think this was posted by, is being championed by Marcus Chambers here, our deputy, um, our deputy mayor. That, look, we have, you're changing the bus route. You have people who have disability. This is taxing them. We need to start thinking about these things because life is stressful. We don't need to make it more stressful for people. It is too stressful. Let us make it easier for others. Let's follow the policy, but also let's look at how can we be more compassionate? How can we be more understanding? How can we? So question, what can we do? Where you seeing lack of compassion, lack of understanding in your workplace, right? And there are many situations I'm going to share with you. For instance, as a manager, right? It's it's really hard because I've had some managers who say, Joyce, I'm so overwhelmed. Um, everything is just so hard. My staff is asking me for stuff, my leaders are asking me for the opposite, and I just don't know where to go. And so as a manager, as a leader, you should be checking in with your managers. Ask them, I notice you seem a bit overwhelmed lately. Is there something I can do? Is everything okay? Would you like to talk about what's on your plate? Ask, please ask. Don't let people leave work so overwhelmed, running out of work, and still waking up at night stressed about work. It shouldn't be. If you if you're an employee and you're struggling, you should also ask for help. But as a manager, as a leader, you should be asking your employees, right? Tell them why you're challenged. You have to be able to explain and communicate, because that's one of the things that's so important in the human side of work, is being able to advocate for yourself, being able to explain what is happening for you. Are you dealing with personal issues? All of us have personal issues. I could talk about personal issues all day, right? My clients, right? My family, right? The bigger your family, the more things you have. People in your network, people in your social club, in your social group, friends, families. If you go to a church, you belong to a congregation. There are issues there. So there are always things that are going to happen, and everything is going to affect you differently. And when something affects you, it's okay to recognize, you know what, this really bothered me. And it's all right. Let's deal with it. And it's nice to be able to have a boss where you can go in and say, you know what, this is happening right now in my life. And I'm wondering if we could just reduce my workload or shift some of my deadlines or my project so I can focus on this and I can give 100% to the fewer things that is going to be on my caseload. Too often we're trying to juggle our personal life and our work and our workload. As my clients say, Joyce, my to-do list just keeps getting bigger. They keep adding more on my plate. They keep telling me more that I have to do, and I can't keep up because all these other things are happening. We all have complex lives. It's not unusual. You're not alone. We all have complex lives. What's important is for you to be able to recognize what is happening and ask for help. Ask for help. That's self compassion. That's a piece. Sometimes we keep forgetting, we keep waiting for others to be compassionate to us, and we forget about the self compassion. I know when I work with HR leaders and professionals, and they tell me, Joyce, it is so hard. Everything comes to HR, right? So while compassion is key, you also need to maintain the standards and policies for the organization so that there is smooth functioning. Otherwise, it becomes chaos and nobody knows what's happening, where the rules are, and where they should stop. So it's important to find the right balance, right? Flexible deadline or follow the hard rules. Sometimes you might want to change a project timeline just for the human side of work to emphasize that people are humans and they have feelings, and it's about being empathetic, but also ensuring the rules. So that's why you have policies and procedures, so that work doesn't become chaotic, so that people don't just do what they want. It's important for us to have those rules, for us to have those policies in place, but it's also important for us to be empathetic. For myself, I mean, all hell broke loose in my life. For instance, my husband had an accident. Uh, it's got really busy at work. And so many things will happen at the same time. I have to practice self compassion. You know what I did? I started having naps during the day. I mean, longer naps. I will always do my 15-minute power naps, but I gave myself permission to start having a good 30, 45-minute 1 hour nap during the day because I have to take care of myself. No, you're saying, Joyce, I'm at work. I can't do that. Well, maybe you can have a power nap. If you've never experienced power naps, 15 minutes can rejuvenate you. So if that is something you don't do, if you can meditate or you can give yourself those 15-minute power surge, it really helps you to get back and move beyond. I had a leader who came to see me and she said, my employees, when I come into the room, they move to the other room, or everybody gets busy, or if they were talking, everybody's quiet. And then you see they start dispersing, or and 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 it's just interesting. As she was telling me this, I was listening and I was thinking, So what's happened? Because of the way she was talking to them, the way she was sharing what needs to be done. So, for instance, if they missed some work, instead of her calling them and talking to that person and saying, let's go over this and see what are we seeing, what could we have done differently, what are some things that you think you missed that you're seeing now, and then if I see anything, I'll point it out. No, she was shaming them in front of everyone. I see you didn't do that. Do you want me to do your job for you? And I was like, it's like, really? No wonder they're scared of you. And so she told me that's the kind of leadership she had. And those things, those shaming situations allowed her to become the best that she can. And I said, you know what? That may work for you, but it doesn't work anymore in this generation. When you shame people, they're going to turn away. So give them that time to walk through with you, to identify what they've done well. Is there something they could do better? That's being compassionate. They didn't do all the work. You can see clearly what needs to be done, but you want to develop them so they can now learn how to do their own assessment of their work, so that when things happen, when you're not there, they know what to do. That's the way it goes. If you keep shaming them, then when you're not there, what are they going to do? They're going to try to get a vacation, right? They won't do anything. So today, what I want you to see is how compassion in the workplace isn't just about being nice. It's a powerful tool for creating a supportive and efficient work environment. And remember, compassion and professionalism are mutually exclusive. They're partners in creating a thriving workplace. So if you have a workplace where people are not being professional, they're not thriving, then ask yourself, are we being compassionate? Are we activating the human side of work? That's giving our employees the tools and resources they need to be impactful, to do their work well. When you look at the various aspects of compassion and many ways that we can help others in the workplace, there are many times. So, one of the key situations that came up was a young leader wasn't doing well, and you know his bosses were concerned that he wouldn't be successful, and they were actually quite surprised because he did well on his own when he was, working as an employee. He has great entrepreneurial skills. But now that he was moved into a leadership role, he doesn't have the team skills. And so there were a lot of complaints, there were a lot of dissatisfaction, the team performance started to shift. And part of the assessment is showing that people were not the team that he was now leading didn't work quite as well and wasn't as efficient as it was before. And part of that process, they thought, well, we need to get rid of him. And when I was brought into the situation, it's like, well, did we give him the right tools to do the job? He was doing really well here. He was really great. He has great personal leadership, entrepreneurial skills. And I think sometimes we confuse that in the workplace. We look at entrepreneurial skills and we say, that person is going to be a great leader. And we push people into situations that's very scary for them because not everybody can lead people or understand. But we can help them to build the skills and competencies they need so they can be successful. And this is where compassion says, let us give that person the tools and the resources they need and the support. This is where a coach came in to help this young leader to identify ways to be a great team leader, to identify ways to work with the team, to support the team, to communicate with the team. One of the programs we do, and this has been a flagship program of IWS for the last few years. It's our relational leadership program because that allows us to teach emerging leaders how to be part and lead a team. Because it's okay to be one-on-one with a person, but not all of us have the skills to work with a team, to now lead a team, to now move others to the next level. And I'm just wondering if you're listening to this, those of you who are online, have you seen situations where someone is really good independently, but they're just not a team person? They don't know how, right? And they can't think of the team things to do. Well, maybe I should ask this question. Maybe I should. And so they come off as being harsh, disconnected, and we probably need to be a little bit more compassionate with them and say, hey, can I show you how to? Can I help you to engage with the team on a better level, on a higher level? Can I help you engage with the team so you can be more successful? And part of what I did with that young leader was to help him to start understanding the difference between being a team member and being a leader. And that when you're a leader, people are looking to you for directions. Whether you know what you're doing or not, you're still being looked at for direction. So it's important to step back and say, how am I going to lead my team today? How are we going to execute on this project? And then what we're going to do. So compassion at work is very comprehensive. Using that compassionate framework, we're getting to help everyone to thrive. There are those employees who are always in conflict. They don't get their work done. They are always behind. They're missing deadlines. Well, maybe compassionately we can ask, what's going on for you? Is there something? And there are those who makes a lot of who makes a lot of errors, mistakes, and how we deal with that compassionately can help that person to feel that they have the option to fix this, they can do better, or we rag them down and they feel terrible and they feel horrible about the errors that they make. So someone makes errors, you can find compassionate ways to say, I noticed this was done. Please I noticed we had this error here. Can we fix it? Can we change that? or this wasn't supposed to be this way, this was supposed to be there, because we're dealing with humans and it's so easy for us to be misunderstood. Human communication is so complex, especially in today's society where we're so diverse. We have multiple languages, we have different diversities, different culture, different perspectives and worldviews, and it's a global village. So you may be working from with people who have completely different perspective. Being able to recognize that, you know what, things could be misunderstood, things could be misconstrued. We have a responsibility to be compassionate in how we share that information and how we help that person to move forward or to change or to correct the situation. Because if you tell me you made an error, you're an idiot, what did you do? Or you say, you know what? I noticed an error. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but this is what it's supposed to be. Can you fix it and how soon? And can you let me know? That's a different conversation. That person is going to go complete and fix that error with without feeling ashamed, without feeling put upon, without being degraded. Compassion allows us to stop degrading humans. And last week we talked about belonging and how important it is to create a space of belonging in the workplace. And with everything that's going on in our workplaces right now, in our society, in our world, on a individual global scale, it's getting really heavy. So it's important for us to do our piece. In a world where work can often feel like high stake. Okay, so we have some feedback here. Navigating the delicate balance. Naturally in art. Yep, it is that. And we have another comment. In professionalism workplace, it's heartening to see a focus on understanding and challenges many face in their professional lives. Too often, these are not things. Don't forget what we do here. We focus on the human side of work, always looking at the human side of work, and how can we be more human, especially in our very digital age. We're so everything is machine, everything is we're digitalization and we're doing more. I mean, if you if you are asking for something from a machine, you don't have to say thank you and please and be but if you're asking for from a human, you need to be kind, you need to be gentle, you need to be compassionate, because humans have mirror neurons. And no matter how much we become digitalized, we will always be humans, and human emotions, human feelings are key to our well being. And when we don't do that, people become stressed, people become overwhelmed, people become burned out, and all these little upset takes away from the energy, and they take energy for us to be alert, to protect ourselves, be fearful, always like, oh, what are they going to say to me? Oh my gosh, is it going to be a hostile day at work? That's stressful. That leads to burnout. And what happens? People's resilience become lower and lower, and we see more of those challenges. And then what we're seeing is that people are becoming more burnt out, more overwhelmed, less able to manage their day-to-day work realities. And we have a responsibility to move up that human side of work. Digitalization will be there, it will continue to grow, but humans are always going to be part of the equation. Everything we do is for humanity, right? We're using digitalization to reduce work, to reduce stress, to increase flow, but it should never replace humanity. That is something that we are struggling with, because it's interesting. Here we are in 2023, and people are more unhappy with their lives than they've ever been in history. And we have more technology, we have more resources, we have more money circulating in our global economy than ever before. but we have more unhappy people than ever before. We have people who hate their life. We have people who are completely dissatisfied because with everything else, we have to remember that we're human. And in order for us to be happy, contented, joyful, we need to look at the choices we're making every day. And the people in our lives and how they treat us have a huge impact on our level of happiness. Because when I launched the Wellbeing Intelligence curriculum, one of the things we were talking about is how do we teach people the skills to live joyful, contented, meaningful lives that they are going to be happy with, that they can look back on and say, I did this. I'm so happy. I'm so contented with my life. Contentment seems to have flown out the window. Bye bye. Because we're not teaching the skills to live a fulfilled life anymore. Is anything goes, whatever you see on social media, you just copy something like they're doing that. Let's try and do it better, right? We're no longer living based on our vision, our values, our belief system. We believe anything. We're open to anything, right? We're becoming so liberal and so broad. And so we're losing the essence of who we are and how to treat each other. It doesn't matter what somebody else's belief is. You know, often when I do respectful workplace, and I do a lot of respectful workplace training and teaching over the last 26 years in our business here at IWS, and people say, just I can't respect that person at work because they don't deserve respect. And I'm like, are you respecting them because they deserve, because you feel they deserve respect? Or you're respecting them because they're human? You respect humanity. It is so easy for us to dehumanize each other. We dehumanize each other as people. We do it at work. We do it in our community. We see that on a global scale. When we dehumanize the other person, we say they have no reason to be alive. We no longer feel compassion towards them. We have no empathy for their suffering. We no longer care if we hurt them. That's not that actually changes who we are. It doesn't make us human to do that. We are changing who we are. We're becoming animalized when we dehumanize. Every time you hurt somebody, you are losing a little bit of your own humanity. Now, there's a difference between hurting someone and correcting someone. And there comes a point in time where you have to tell someone, come on, stop it, behave yourself. Because there are people in all our lives who just go on off. And you do need to bring them back and say, hey, there are boundaries. If you're part of a group, the group have rules. If you're part of the workplace, there are policies and procedures you have to follow. If you're part of this family, this is the expectation. I used to tell my children this all the time. I was like, I can't protect you when you break the rules because the rules are what I have to keep you safe. And when you break the rules, you're outside my purview. I can no longer protect you. So each of us need to come up with our values. We need to come up with our vision. We need to come as we move into a new year. This is why I want you to go and sign up for our well-being challenge because I am hosting a year-end well-being challenge and I want you to be part of that. I want you to get the tools to be part of that challenge. It's just go on and the challenge is free. There's a free element to the challenge and you don't have to do anything actually. You just have to go on and start doing the challenge and it will help you to develop some of these skills that I'm talking about. So I'm just going to um, add the QR code here so you can find our challenge and you can sign up and start the free challenge because it's just it's year end challenge, right? It's the well-being year end challenge. And what I'm doing in this challenge is saying, look, all of us have something that we are not happy with. And this is an opportunity for us to do something different and change the year and where we go from here. So, what I want you to do is to go and on our website and I'm going to add the QR code. All right. Let me download the QR code here for you because I think it's just so important. It is so important for us to have well, I am just typing this here so you can see it. The Wellbeing Year End Challenge is an opportunity to start saying, hey, I I want to learn some of those skills so I can have a better life. And if you want to build a happy, joyful life, then let's work together. And this is free. You can go ahead and let me upload the image. And you can just go ahead here and challenge QR code. There you go. I am going to show it right here. You can go ahead and download the code. I hope this is only showing one. And someone scan the QR. Okay, go ahead, scan the QR code and go ahead and join the challenge. Let's let's end the year differently. Let's end the year with an opportunity to change what we're doing and get to the place where we can just be more successful in our life and be able to go back and say, you know what, I have learned these skills this year and I'm going to put them into practice and I'm going to have a better 2024. This challenge goes until January 9th. So we're going to be all through December and up to January 9th because most people struggle with just that hump of ending the year and feeling like, oh, things are the same and my life won't be better. It's a treadmill. It's just another year. It's the same old thing coming over again. Oh, you can change that cycle. We can change that cycle. So go ahead, scan the code, go to our website, sign up for the challenge, and let's get you started on a more positive note. Bring compassion into your workplace, bring compassion into your life, do the things that you want to do. Because you know what? At the end of the day, you want to be able to say, I am happy with my life. I am joyful. And that's what we teach, how to do the things that will make you amazingly happy with your life. So you can sleep at night because sleep is good. Anyway, Joyce Odedison here. What's happening at work? The human side of work. Let's keep the conversation going. Leave your comments here. If you watch live and if you're watching on the replay, leave your comments. I do go back and watch these comments and I do go back and talk about them. And if you're watching this as part of some of our work or coaching, then absolutely go ahead and apply some of these things in your life. Joyce Edison, interpersonalwellness.com, home of the Wellbeing Intelligence Curriculum, the world's first well-being curriculum for those who want to live a joyful, meaningful, impactful, professional and personal life. Join us at interpersonalwellness.com. Take care and be well. I'll see you in the next show. Bye.